What is going on, guys? Predator458 here, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to World of Warships, where today we're going to be taking a look at a viewer replay submitted by Archer. I think we featured him last week or the week before, don't quite remember, but anyways, in today's replay he is taking out the Tier 9 American destroyer, the Fletcher, one of the most famous destroyer classes the US Navy ran during the Second World War. Now, I do apologize if the video is a little bit stuttery while he's in this view, but it will sort itself out. But anyways, battleships fairly equal. Each team has an Iowa, but the enemy team has a Colorado instead of a second Tier 8. His team has a Tier 9 cruiser, but then they all 7s, whereas the enemy team's got pretty much all 8s. And then for destroyers, his team has the advantage because each team has a Kagero, but then his team obviously has him in his Fletcher. So again, I think maybe he might have been getting a little bit of lag or something, but I do believe the replay will smooth itself out a little bit. But anyway, so as I have never run a Fletcher before, I have the stats page open on my screen, so we can just look over some of the stats. 127mm guns. He has... Oh, these stats are a little bit out of date. It says that the best hull for the Fletcher is 17,100 hit points, and he's obviously got more than that. So I hope everything else is right. Torpedoes, apparently the max range is 10.5. The guns doesn't tell me what the max range is, so the stat page is shit. But no, okay, the fire control system, there we go, tells me 12.9 is the max range on the guns. Maximum speed 36.5, he's going faster than that. So again, the stat page seems to maybe be a little bit out of date. But anyways, we've got our first target, and it is Danny G96 in his Otago, heading towards the A capture point. Now, this is obviously one of the new maps, newer maps, Tears of the Desert, I believe it's called. I haven't played on it too much, I don't think. But the Otago is 12.5 kilometers away, so it seems at least the maximum range of the stat page is fairly accurate. And we also have an Iowa at 15.6. It looked like a Pensacola next to him. And indeed it is, and he's just slowing down. Obviously doesn't want to get too close. There's obviously a destroyer who has captured the A point. If it's the Kagero, all good. And here comes some torpedoes, hooray! So turning towards them, no real trouble to avoid. And there's a Mahan, which is obviously one of the lower tier American, in tier 7 or 8, not entirely sure. And there goes up a smoke screen, so we know definitely that there is now an enemy destroyer, if we didn't know that already. He's going to fire some torpedoes into the smoke screen, see if he gets lucky. They were aimed sort of towards the Mahan. We'll have to see if maybe he can get a hit. As you can see, reload on the torpedoes was 1:45, I think. But, you know, the big things with these American destroyers is not so much the torpedoes, because they're obviously, even at tier 9 and 10, they're still outclassed by the Kagero and the Shimakaze in terms of range. But these things are all about those guns, and he's going to use them in this replay, and the reload rate is just stupendous. It's absolutely stupendous. And would you look at that, he manages to land a torpedo hit. It wasn't on the Mahan, so actually managed to land 2 torpedo hits, 3 torpedo hits, and one of them was on the Mahan. So epic first salvo of torpedoes, very, very lucky or skilled, and the Iowa absolutely wrecks the Pensacola. If you've played it, you know how terrible the armor of that ship is. Unfortunately, he gets spotted, and I think he's popped a smoke screen. And look at that, was that 2.5 seconds or so? Less than 2.5 seconds. Starting to put some fire into the Iowa as he slows down to sit in his smoke screen. And obviously, each shell's not going to do a lot, but when you're putting out 5 shells every 2.5 seconds, and he's firing armor piercing, interestingly enough. And I mean, he is doing decent damage when he does, and with that rate of fire, it's just gonna really, really whittle down the health of this big bad battleship, who has no idea where he is and is within 5 kilometers. Torpedoes are nearly up, so I think we can all guess what is going to happen fairly soon. And there he is going to line up the torpedo spreads, and off they go. And the enemy destroyers have been firing torpedoes into Archer's smokescreen, but as he's not sitting completely still, they've all been missing. And this Iowa is just a shame. And now he's switched over to high explosive, but he's not really going to need it 4 torpedo hits, finishes off the highway, gets himself devastating strike, and now he's going to start putting some fire towards the enemy Mahan, which has just been spotted at 6.4 kilometers. Managing to get some hits, and unfortunately someone else beats him to the kill. But one of the great things about any ship with such a fast rate of fire, especially when firing at the likes of destroyers, is you can adjust your aim all the time. You know, every salvo you can fire and adjust your aim really quickly and get more shots on the way. You don't have to wait 8, 10, 15, 20 seconds or whatever it is. So that is what makes American destroyers so good at this gunboat role, especially when dealing with other destroyers, and even more so, especially if they fly the Rising Sun flag, because not only do you fire faster, but the turret traverse on these American destroyers is absolutely incredible. In fact, let's just look over on the stat page. It says here, artillery rotation time, 5.29 seconds. Interesting. I'm not sure if that is correct, but it sounds about right, because I know the Fletcher, especially the high-tier American destroyers, were super quick to rotate 180 degrees. So when fighting these Japanese destroyers, you can just, you know, continuously maneuver hard to port, hard to starboard, dodge all his shots while keeping your guns on target. Whereas if the Japanese destroyer tries the same thing, they're going to have a far more difficult time keeping those guns on target, and they're not going to fire as quickly. Anyway, Kagero has been spotted and is being engaged by the Benson, who has also put torpedoes in the water, which is a bit optimistic, I think, especially when the Kagero knows he's there, and there's, about 5 kilometers range between them. So Archer currently is heading towards the B zone to go and support his ships there, and maybe see if he can start getting involved with this Kagero. I believe he could be opening fire right now, but he's just remaining stealthy and using his speed of 38.3, which I'm guessing is the maximum speed, to his advantage to get into position really quickly. But he's just keeping an eye on what else is in the area. We got a Mikhail Kutuzov, who is approaching and is less than 10 kilometers away, coming through the strait on our port side. North Carolina is 13 kilometers, and he has now selected up the Russian Tier 8 premium cruiser. I'd still love to try that thing out. And the Kutuzov is adjusting his speed. You can see the aim indicator for the torpedoes is moving all over the place. So where is he going to fire? And he has unfortunately been detected. And there is a Benson at 6 kilometers. So we should have no problem defeating the Benson. There's a lower tier, and we're both American destroyers, so we should have the advantage. First shot's in, on fire, takes out his engine, but he's now been set on fire, presumably by the Kutuzov, because now what is working in this Benson's favor is the fact that the Benson is not alone. But I think he has popped another smokescreen and is now no longer spotted. The Kutuzov has fired blind and did manage to get some hits. Archer is now reversing, and because of this, the Kutuzov's next salvo is going to miss. But he's still got 15,000 hit points, so it's not the end of the world. He's still pretty good. No need to worry too much. And what do we have? There were actually 2 Kutuzovs in the area. But he is going to start firing at the North Carolina. And this rate of fire is just stupid. It's so stupid. But really awesome. Kind of makes me wish I had Tier 9 destroyers at my disposal. But alas, I do not. Torpedoes going in from an allied destroyer, or maybe the carrier at the Kutuzov. Fortunately, all of them missing. And just raining down high explosive hurts on this North Carolina, hoping to maybe see if we can get a few fires. And with this volume of fire, this sheer volume, perhaps we'll be lucky. It shouldn't be too long, hopefully. And there's really small amounts of damage, and a lot of his shells seem to be going a little bit too long, so he's readjusting. But again, as I said with when he was engaging that IR, when you're putting out a salvo every 2.5 seconds or so, you will slowly whittle down the enemy's health. And trust me, when you're in a battleship, nothing is more frustrating than a destroyer doing this to you, and you have no idea where he is, and he's just raining down the hurt. And unfortunately, he's now gone behind the island, and I don't quite know if he could even arc over it. And he has a Colorado at 7 kilometers again, who's completely oblivious. And it looks like that one salvo did manage to scooch over the island. And there we go, fire, hooray! But we all know that sometimes when you fire at things on the other side of islands, the game goes all derpy, and instead of targeting the ship behind, it happily targets the island itself. So he was spotted briefly for a moment there. It wasn't by an aircraft, it was by another ship. So presumably it was by that Mahan. But things are going very well for his team. They've only lost 3 ships, 3 cruisers. The enemy team has lost 2 battleships, 2 cruisers, and all of their destroyers. That was 4 of them. So all that remains is the aircraft carrier, this Colorado, and 2 more cruisers, which I think are probably those 2 Kutuzovs. So putting shots into the Colorado. Torpedoes are on the way. Will he get lucky, or will the Colorado be dead before he gets there? Already managed to get himself the Confederate Award. So more shots. Those ones miss, unfortunately, but these torpedoes are actually looking like they might be pretty good. And does he do it? Yes, he does. Manages another torpedo hit. 8th of the match, and that is his 2nd kill. So all that remains are the 2 Kutuzovs and the enemy aircraft carrier. So now he is starting to move towards Nazgul, who is 13 kilometers and running. So it may take a little while to catch up. And he has taken a big hit from someone, and the North Carolina is firing again. Will this finish him off? Shots going in from the North Carolina, and indeed he does manage to finish off that Kutuzov. So I think I'm going to cut the replay here and resume when there's some more action. If there is, I don't recall. I've watched this once before, but I don't remember if there was any more action from Archer in this replay. If there is, we'll pick up when he gets into the action. Otherwise, I will see you guys at the results. And that was indeed the end of the match. Unfortunately, the last remaining Kutuzov managed to hide in the smokescreen, and the enemy carrier had managed to position himself in a rather unexpected location and was only detected with about 10 seconds left before his team managed to get their 1,000 points required for victory. So unfortunately, the last 2 remaining ships on the enemy team managed to survive, but it was still a fantastic match nonetheless, and good fun to watch. So let's have a look and see how he did. Earning himself 331,000 credits, 3,698 experience, devastating strike, and Confederate with 173 target hits, 8 torpedo hits, shooting down 1 plane, 5 incapacitations, 2 kills, 2 fires, 7 floods, and assisted in base capture twice, making some progress towards the surprise attack mission. As for the team score, coming first place on his team with a base XP of 2,465, a good amount ahead of the Rune, who was in second place with 1615. On the enemy team, it was the North Carolina who came first with 953, and the Otago in second place with 810. And that poor Iowa is quite far down with only 607. But anyways, as for damage done, 7,246 damage from armor piercing, 26,190 from high explosive, 7,495 from fires, 530 from flooding, and an impressive 73,205 from his torpedo hits, giving Archer a grand total of 114,666 damage done. So, thank you very much, good sir, for sending in this replay. I rather enjoyed watching it, and I hope all of you did as well. It's always great for me to see these high-tier destroyer matches, any destroyer matches, that is, mainly because I don't really play them all that often. But anyways, that about covers it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships, Armored Warfare, and a few other things that I throw into the mix from time to time. Also, be sure to check the description down below for the email address that you guys can use to send in your epic, awesome World of Warships or Armored Warfare replays and stand a chance to be featured on my channel. But yeah, as I said, that about covers everything I wanted to say in this video. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.